everyone. Are you missing hugs from a special person? Well, we're going to show you today how to mail your own personal hug so that when they get in the mail, they can wrap their arms right around, your arms right around them. So this is my son, Aiden, and we made this yesterday. I'm going to show you there's different kinds of paper and different types of tips that I can give you to make this a little bit easier. So this is Aiden's personal, his self-portrait and his personal hug that he's going to be mailing to his grandmother. So how we start out is, I've showed you that this is one in the background. It's a nice big piece of paper. And this is what is called typically butcher paper. Some people call it craft paper. It comes in a roll. A lot of people get theirs from IKEA. I will tell you right now that Amazon is a little backed up. So we have been using more craft supply stores. Staples, Michaels, and Joann's all carry this type of paper. You can also use painter's paper, which is dark brown, but if you use paint, then you can, then it doesn't matter that it's dark brown, and it's nice and thick too, so that it makes it a little more weighty to mail it, but it also makes it really nice to paint on. So the first thing you'll need is your paper. So you can either get a roll of paper, or you can use printer paper if that's what you have at your house. You'll need something to color things in on. We used crayons because that's what we had readily available. You could use paint or watercolor, acrylic, whatever you have that's available. We have scissors, a pencil, and then some form of dark marker or crayon. So you could use a black crayon or a black marker. Then we're going to be mailing it, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. So this is what we need to just create it, and then we'll talk about what we need to mail it. So starting out, to make this nice big piece of paper, what I did was I took individual pieces of printer paper and laid them side by side and used just regular cellophane tape or gift wrapping tape and put this down one way, going this way, and then going the other way. So for a 4 or 5-year-old child, you may need 2, 4, 6, 8, like 12 or 14 pieces of paper. But for Aiden, we need 16 pieces of paper. But I think that whoever gets it, it's going to be worth it. They're going to be really excited. So we tape those pieces on, and then, just like Aiden did here, you put the paper on the ground and you lie down, and then another person traces you. So it could be mom, it could be older brother or sister, younger brother or sister, but they're just going to follow the outline of your body. So for instance, if I were to use my hand, I'm going to lay my hand down, and I'm just going to keep the pencil as close as possible and trace all around my whole body. And it's best to lie still. Also, when you're doing your hands, if you put your hand together like this, it kind of looks like a paw. Okay, I'll draw one here. If you put together your hand with your hands out like this, it looks more like a hand. And here's the difference. Okay, so I prefer to use, let's see, it might be easier if I did this darker. I recommend doing it in pencil and then tracing it over with a black crayon or marker, because if you make any mistakes, it's easy to erase the pencil. So you can see the difference. You can see tell it's a hand, but it's not as, this you know is a hand. So I recommend putting your hands out. Because if you were going to say to Grammy, you wouldn't say, "Come on in for a hug, Grammy." You'd go, "Come on in for a hug." Your hands are out just like that. So then you can add your clothing. So for instance, for me, I'm wearing something that's tight to my skin. And then maybe if I had a bracelet on, I can add jewelry, or if you're wearing a watch, or you, and remember, when you got your hands out like this, you don't see the nails. So you don't want to draw your nails on because you don't see your nails. But you would you see a ring. So you can just add stuff like that and then color that in. Or use whatever skin tone crayon or marker, or I don't recommend markers as much, but paint goes very, very quickly. So once we get this all done, Aiden finished his, and then he colored it in. And we did a heart in the center and wrote, I miss you. If you did this craft for Mother's Day, you could write Happy Mother's Day, Grandparents' Day, or here's a hug for you. So once you finish, you have the choice of leaving it like this and rolling it up. And if someone was if you were doing a drive-by and you just wanted to drop it on someone's door as a thank you, which is what we are actually going to use this one for. This is for Eden's special education technician who he hasn't seen in a while, and he really misses her. We just happen to know where she lives, so we're going to drop this off at her house as a surprise. So, but if you want to mail it, it's easier to cut it out like this, unless you have used the paper like this, because then you can easily fold on those lines all up and it makes a nice stack just like this. You can fold this too, but this was really easy to send like this. Okay, so let's talk about faces. So there's certain things that give a lot of kids anxiety, and one of the things is, oh my goodness, drawing faces. Faces are really hard. Faces on hands. The good thing is we've traced the shape of the hand. It's hard to, even artists have a tough time with hands. You'll see an awful lot of artists who do things with with someone looking off in the distance because hands are really tough. Feet also. So your face is another tough part. And I've got some tips that can make this a lot easier for you. So what I like to do is, most people have, you look at the outer shape. I have kind of an oval shaped face. Some people have more round face or kind of square. They might have a square jaw. A lot of boys tend to have a squarer jaw. So I'm going to draw my shape first, my oval shape first. Okay. And I'm going to draw it with pencil at first because I know I'm going to make mistakes. And then I'm going to go over it with my black crayon or marker. Okay. And if you look at that, there's my oval. And then no one's face is really perfectly symmetrical. If you were to look at my face, if I look at you this way, you can see how this eye is kind of open. If I look over here, this eye is less open. Also, this side of my mouth is thicker than this side. My nose is pretty symmetrical, but my eyes are very different. And my eyebrows, I like to call them sisters and not twins. They're definitely not the same. One eyebrow is more flat and straight, and one eyebrow arches a little bit more. So, but we in general kind of have a symmetry to our face. And the easy way to achieve that is, first, you're going to fold your paper in half. Okay? And that's going to give us our center. Okay? Now, your eyes, if you were to look at my face, my eyes are about halfway down the distance. So halfway the distance between here and here is where my eyes sit. So you're going to measure approximately halfway, maybe a little bit higher, and draw that line. And that is where your eyes go. Okay? Now halfway between the line for our eyes and the line for our chin is the bottom of our nose. So we're going to take that space between here and here. We're going to divide that up in half, and that's going to be the bottom of our nose. And then the center of our lips are about halfway in between the bottom of our nose and our chin. Now, some people might have a bigger chin, and some people might have a bigger forehead. I like to joke that I have a 5 head because my forehead is so big. It's not a 4 head, it's a 5 head. but you're going to take your nose down to your chin, about halfway down. That's the middle, that's your lips, the center of your lips. So if you were to divide, that's your face form. Okay? And again, everybody's a little different. You don't have to make it perfect, but if you struggle, this can make it easier. And then I can easily draw my eyes, my nose, and my lips. And because I smile big when I give a hug, I'm going to leave my mouth open a little bit for that smile. Now, as people get older, they have lines when they smile. So you might have that line now because you might have cheeks, you might have dimples, you might have freckles. Feel free to draw those in. So I'm going to add my laugh lines. I'm not going to add the lines around my eyes. chuck that up to vanity. And then I'm going to add my eyebrows. Okay, so there is my face that I'm drawing. Okay. Then there's another, if you're worried about getting, sometimes people do really well on one side, but then their eyeball will be way down here and they struggle with what's called that, what we talked about, symmetry, making things symmetrical. So another way you can make things symmetrical is to fold your paper in half like this. And on one side, you're going to draw your oval, half of your oval, right? And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do halfway down. We're going to do our lines halfway down and halfway down for our nose, down that from our nose, and halfway down that for our lips. So it's going to kind of look like this. Okay. So then I'm just going to draw my eye. I'm going to draw half of my nose, the one nostril down to the center of my nose, and I'm going to draw my lips, half of my lips, with my mouth open in a smile. Okay, so there's half of my face. Okay, so now if you turn this over, if I were to hold this up to a window, if I were to put this on a window, I'll be able to trace all of that really, really well, especially if I use something really dark like a Sharpie marker. Okay. So, where's it? Oh, here we go. If I can kind of show you. So here's the side I drew on. If I hold this up, this is what happens with a window. You can see all of the lines and you can easily trace all those lines. Okay. So I'm going to do it. I can kind of see it here because I used a nice sharp marker. If I hold it up to the light, it's not going to be perfect. It works much better if you actually put it on the window because it keeps it nice and steady, but I'm moving quickly to show you. So I'm going to just hold it up to the light so I can see everything through. And then again, if I use pencil, if I make any mistakes, I can check it. So here's my symmetrical face. And that's an easy way to make a face symmetrical. So the other thing is eyes. Eyes can be really tough to draw. A lot of people struggle with eyes. So if I were to look at you, if you'll see, you do not see the whites. You see the white on this side and on this side, but you do not see it underneath here unless I go way down like this. So if I'm looking, my head is down and I'm looking up at you, that's the only time when you see the white of my eye. Similarly, if I was going like this, you would see the white on the top of the eye because my head is back and I'm looking down towards you. So you'd start to see the white on the top. So when you draw an eye, first we have our eye shape. And then we draw the pupil, right, which is, then we draw the iris, which is the colored part of our eye. And we're going to do that by doing two lines, just like this. Again, we don't see the white under the iris at all. Now, the pupil is the black part of your eye, and that, what we call, dilates to make sure, like right now, if I look towards the sun, my eye will dilate and my pupil will get small and round because it's stopping light from coming in. It's saying, "Ooh, that's too much light. We're gonna take that camera lens. We're gonna bring it in." Now, if I go into a dark room, then boom, that pupil gets really big really quickly because it's like, "Where's the light? I need light in here. We can't see." So if you're gonna draw, and I'll show you the difference. If you draw a pupil really big in the center like that, it kind of looks surprised, like, oh, or it kind of looks like you just went into the sun, like, wow, like there's your pupil, it's really big. But if you draw it like it typically would be, if I look forward to you, you only see a portion of it. The top part of the circle is kind of cut off. Okay, so you can see the difference. This one looks like a typical eye, and that one looks like a terrified or a surprised eye. So this is the way you want to go right here. And so that's a little tip for drawing eyes that are more realistic. So then also, when you get to the point where you have your face perfect, you can slip it under the other paper, and again, through using, because it's dark, you'll be able to see it and trace all of that with a pencil. Bring it out, take a look, make sure, compare the two, make any corrections, and then you can actually use a darker line, a darker crayon to trace everything out. With Aiden's, let's see, you see on his face, you can kind of see the lines here that I draw with pencil, and then I went over the top afterward. Okay. And then Aiden added glasses, and on this one he also added freckles because Aiden has freckles. Some people have moles, or you might add jewelry, earrings. You can do whatever you like, and then color everything to match what you're wearing or your favorite outfit, and make it funky if you want. Then we get to sending it. So after it's all finished, you've written on your heart and said, here's what here's what I want to say to you, loved one. Then we're going to send it. And a really great way to send it is by going to USPS.com. So this is a priority mail envelope. And if you see right down here, it says, visit USPS.com to order free supplies online. So this envelope is free. You have to pay for the postage, but this is free. So you can actually go online and get this. You can also order your postage online. And you can also get supplies like tape if you need to tape things down. So when you have your artwork all folded up, you just slip it inside the envelope, download your postage, paste your postage right here. You fold this lip over. There is a piece of adhesive right here. Fold it up and put it in the mail. If you want to get this out right away and say you have postage at home already, you have a bunch of stamps left over from Christmas and you've got like 25 stamps left over, and you can check on USPS how much it is to send something like this. And what we did is, again, we're trying to use a lot of our recyclables. So we have a couple of kids that really love chicken nuggets. So this is a great source of cardboard for painting and also for sending. So what we did was we took the two chicken nugget sides and we cut them off. And this box is the perfect size actually to send, because when you place your artwork inside, you can place it just like this. And then we used blue painter's tape, or you can use masking tape. Now, the USPS would prefer that you use packaging tape. Okay, in fact, for packages, big boxes, they won't accept using masking tape or painter's tape because it doesn't work as well. It doesn't hold packages shut. But for this, it works pretty good. If you use regular gift tape, it doesn't hold very well. So you want to make sure that this is the best tape to use. This is packing tape. This is the USPS brand, which you can order, or you can use masking tape or painter's tape. So, and then you can get your online postage, put your address up here, the whoever's going to be receiving it right here, and your postage on, and there you have it. And then you're mailing a hug. So thanks very much. We'll see you soon.